boleh.
The movie begins with Arthur Bishop, who has been living in isolation in Rio de Janeiro under the name Santos after faking his death. One day, he is approached by Renee Tran, a courier who reveals that she knows his true identity. Tran explains that her employer has 3 targets that need to be eliminated, and their deaths must appear accidental. If Arthur refuses, she threatens to release video evidence of him escaping the car explosion that supposedly killed him years ago. Arthur, realizing the trap, takes a photo of her to uncover her connections. This move prompts Tran's guards to attack him. Using his surroundings, Arthur fights them off with improvised weapons. As more guards approach, he escapes by jumping onto a glider. Later, Arthur sneaks back, eliminates Tran, and destroys his yacht with explosives to cover his tracks before fleeing to Thailand. Arthur finds refuge at a beach house owned by his old friend, May, on a secluded island resort in Thailand. While staying there, he learns that Tran was working for a man named Crane, who appears to be behind the attempts to manipulate him. A few days later, a bruised and battered woman named Gina Thornton arrives at May's resort seeking medical aid. Gina briefly explains her situation and then leaves for a nearby anchored boat. That night, May observes Gina being assaulted by a man on the boat and informs Arthur. Initially, Arthur dismisses the situation, believing it to be a setup. However, to ensure May's safety and peace of mind, he agrees to intervene. During the rescue attempt, a struggle ensues, and the man dies when his head hits a metal structure on the boat. After failing to identify the man, Arthur sets the boat ablaze and takes Gina back to the resort. As he spends more time with Gina, Arthur uncovers that she has ties to Crane. While May cares for Gina's injuries, Arthur pieces together Crane's strategy. Crane anticipated Arthur would form a bond with Gina, only for her to be kidnapped later, coercing him into accepting an assassination mission. When confronted, Gina admits that Crane threatened the children at the Cambodian shelter she manages, forcing her to cooperate. Arthur feigns romantic interest in Gina to deceive Crane but begins to genuinely care for her. Eventually, Crane's mercenaries kidnap both Gina and Arthur, with Crane using Gina as leverage to force Arthur into assassinating 3 targets. The first target is Krill, a warlord imprisoned in Malaysia. Arthur infiltrates the prison by posing as a wanted fugitive, ensuring his arrest and placement in the same facility as Krill. Inside, Arthur gains Krill's trust by saving him from an assassination attempt by a traitor in the prison. Once close enough, Arthur strangles Krill and stages the death to look like a prayer-related accident, temporarily fooling the guards. Arthur uses a combination of a concealed gun bomb and carefully placed explosives to create chaos and escape the facility. Before diving into the ocean, he applies anti-shark cream to avoid detection by predators. Crane's agents track him using a locator and assist in his getaway. The second target is Adrian Cook, a billionaire and former human trafficker living in a heavily secured penthouse in Sydney. Cook's residence features 1-meter-thick concrete walls, advanced alarm systems, and an overhanging glass-bottom pool. Arthur decides to exploit the pool's structural vulnerability. Pretending to be a wealthy buyer, Arthur rents an apartment directly below Cook's. He bypasses the penthouse's security systems and uses a chemical agent to weaken the pool's glass. The plan succeeds when the glass shatters, sending Cook plummeting to his death. Arthur likens the incident to flushing waste down a toilet. While discussing the third target, Crane allows Arthur to speak with Gina via video call. Gina cleverly repositions the camera, enabling Arthur to identify Crane's boat. However, the guards notice her actions and immediately cut the feed. Arthur uses the ship's identification number to track its location and attempts a rescue mission. He eliminates several guards but finds himself outmaneuvered as Crane anticipated his actions. Crane tightens his control over Gina, forcing Arthur to focus on completing the assassinations. The final target is Max Adams, an American arms dealer in Varna, Bulgaria. While planning the hit, Arthur realizes that Crane's targets are Crane's primary competitors in the arms trade. Rather than killing Max, Arthur decides to enlist him as an ally. To reach Max, Arthur infiltrates his fortress by hiding inside a medical helicopter. After disabling the surveillance systems, he destroys the elevator with a grenade, forcing Max to flee to his vault. Arthur confronts Max, explains Crane's scheme, and convinces him to cooperate. Max agrees to fake his death in a staged submarine explosion. They execute the plan, and Max escapes with Arthur's help. Arthur informs Crane that Max is dead and provides the location of the submarine. Returning to the submarine, Arthur sets up a series of traps designed to ambush Crane's men. When Crane's forces arrive, Arthur uses explosives, precise shooting, and a mounted machine gun to eliminate them systematically. Afterward, he heads to Crane's boat, where he defeats more mercenaries and rescues Gina. He discovers the boat is rigged with explosives and places Gina in an emergency escape pod, ensuring her safety before continuing his fight. In a final confrontation, Arthur faces Crane. During their struggle, Arthur chains Crane to the boat as the explosives detonate. The explosion seemingly kills both Crane and Arthur. Gina returns to Cambodia, resuming her work at the children's shelter, believing Arthur to be dead. However, Arthur survives by hiding in a watertight compartment on the boat before the explosion. Weeks later, Arthur surprises Gina by reappearing in Cambodia.